Hello, hello. Kim Coco here, founder of Swagtail and the Flexible Golfer program. Today's 30-minute class is designed to give you this well-rounded sequence that's going to help you prevent injury as a golfer. Now, even if you don't golf, this is a wonderful way to mobilize all the different areas of the body, hips, spine, shoulders, as well as create some stability and strength in your foundation to give you better balance and a sense of confidence to move in your life. Now, you don't need any props for this class other than a mat and some space to move. And we'll go ahead and get started on your back. So go ahead and come to lie down. Soles of the feet can be on the floor, and you can rest your arms by your side. Maybe take your hands to the ribs so that the thumb and the forefinger rest on the lower ribs, and the bottom half of your hand rests on the soft part of your belly. Let the knees drop in toward one another, and just take a few moments here to notice that the floor supports you. Notice that gravity helps your body rest down onto your mat. And at the same time, you can breathe more deeply. So that with every inhale, you notice the lungs expand and the belly rise. With every exhale, the belly drops back down and the ribs lightly contract. Start to breathe in and out through the nose here if you haven't done so already. And find a rhythm that can be sustainable for you throughout practice. The idea here is your breath will be your guide. It's going to help you gauge when you've gone too far, noticing when it's too challenging to sustain this breath pattern, or if you're going a little too easy and might be able to add a bit more depth or strength to the pose and still keep this even rhythm. So on your next inhale, fill up deeply. Pause at the top, soften the shoulders, the tailbone, the back of the head. And then exhale, let the breath all the way back out. Two more just like that, filling up deeply. Expand as much as you can with the breath. Pausing ever so slightly at the top before you breathe back out again. One more time, filling up deeply. Exhale, let it go. Come back to that even rhythm of breath in and out through the nose, and we'll keep that as we start to move the body. So take your hands from your ribs and bring them to the kneecaps. And you can move the ankles around in a couple circles first. You might even move the kneecaps around in a few circles to massage out the low back. Maybe move in the opposite direction. And then as you come back to the center, inhale, press the knees away from you and elongate the spine as the low back presses lightly into the floor. And then as you exhale, draw the kneecaps in toward your chest and curl up into a little ball. Maybe the head and neck comes off the ground. Inhale, release the head back down, push the knees away from you, create a little traction. Exhale, draw the knees in toward the chest, maybe curl up. A few more just like that. Inhale. You can keep the upper body on the ground the entire time. That's no problem. Just really starting to create some sensation and space around the lumbar spine. Use your next exhale to hug the knees into the chest. And then from here, take the knees back out. And then soles of the feet to the floor, shift the hips a little bit to the left and drop your knees over to the right. And then if the left shoulder pops up off of the mat, that's okay. Just imagine it getting heavier with every breath out. Coming into this gentle spinal twist. Allowing the back of the head to rest on the mat. So you might look up at the ceiling, or you might even gaze over your left shoulder. Imagining a little more space between the left side ribs and the left hip. Creating mobility in the spine that helps you twist into your backswing, or really just to deal with a whole host of demands in your everyday life. Helping you move more functionally, more efficiently, and without injury. On your next inhale, bring your knees back through the center. Maybe place the soles of your feet on the ground to shift your hips a little bit to the right, and then drop your knees over to the left. Again, same rule applies. You can stretch that arm out straight on the right side or keep it bent at the elbow. But notice that gravity is dropping the right shoulder to the ground. Maybe you even readjust your upper back. And then find a head position that feels okay for you. Breathing in a little more deeply, even in this more awkward position of a twist. Take one more full cycle of breath here. On your next inhale, coming back through the center, maybe hug the knees in toward the chest one more time, rock a little side to side, move the knees around in some circles once again, and eventually you can either rock and roll forward and back and come up toward a seated position, or you can just roll over to the right side and press your way back up. In any case, we're going to move into tabletop position. So hands underneath the shoulders, knees underneath the hips, and toes are untucked so the tops of the feet are on the ground. So press into your mat, broaden across the collarbones. Take your inhale, tip the pelvis forward, melt the spine toward the ground, and look up with the chest and the chin for a gentle cow pose. And then as you exhale, press the tops of the feet into the floor, round the spine, tuck the pelvis, tuck the chin, creating as much space in the whole back side of the body as possible. So we're just going to reverse that. Use your breath in, tilt the pelvis forward, melt the whole spine toward the ground, shoulder blades move together. Exhale, press the floor away, round your entire spine. Two more just like that. Inhaling back to a gentle back bend, broaden across the collarbones. As you exhale, draw the belly button in toward the spine so you have some strength and stability as you move. Inhale, lengthen. Keep pressing down through the base of each knuckle, base of each finger, as you press the floor away and round. And then as you inhale, come back to a neutral spine so the low back is flat. You're pressing the floor away. There's nice space between the shoulder blades. And then stretch your right foot back. And you might roll back and forth just to create a little bit of stretch in the calf. But keep the belly button pressing in toward the spine. Chin is long, so all four sides of the neck are long. Stay here. Or hover the right leg parallel to the ground. You can even peek underneath you to make sure that's the case. And then stay here, or come onto left fingertips, or maybe reach the left arm forward. Bird dog pose, a tabletop extension. So take a few cycles of breath here. Imagine you're reaching out in front of you with the left arm and kicking back with the right heel. Breathing deeply here. Taking one more cycle, nice and slow. Finding that rhythm that's going to support you. And then exhale, left hand down, right knee down. Press the floor away, tuck and round the spine, and sit back with the hips on the heels toward child's pose. Maybe let your head and neck rest on your mat. Take a full cycle of breath here. This would be your resting pose. Breathe into the low back, and as you press the floor away, inhale, come back up to tabletop pose. Extend the left leg back, ball mounted the foot on the floor first, and just create a little bit of spaciousness along the calf, a little bit of a stretch along the calf. And then stay with the shoulders over the wrists and start to hover the left leg parallel to the floor. Again, you can gaze back, make sure all 5 toes on the left foot are pointing down. And your entire torso is engaged to hold you steady. Stay there or hover onto right fingertips. Maybe stretch the right arm out parallel to the floor as well. So second side, tabletop extension. Find your deepest rhythm of breath that you can sustain easily. And find a point on your mat to gaze at, ideally 8 to 10 inches in front of your fingertips that are on the floor. Opening up into this realm of possibility to stay well, vibrant, injury-free as an athlete, an energetic, vibrant being as just a human, as you live every nuance of your life. Take a deep breath in. As you exhale, slowly release your right hand, left knee, tucking around the spine, sit back on your heels, child's pose, and take a breather. A full round of an inhale and an exhale. Taking one more like that to notice any changes in the body so far. As you inhale next, come back to your tabletop. We're going to come to thread the needle. So walk your hands an inch or 2 forward of where they were. Take your left hand, press it firmly into the mat, and inhale, reach your right arm up. Exhale, weave your right wrist behind your left wrist. Right hand behind left wrist, and keep your left hand on the floor to press into the floor and start to create another twist for the spine. So a restorative twist, wringing out any tight spots around the vertebra, allowing more information and energy to flow fluidly through your spinal column, this central nervous system. And you can stay here with the left hand on the ground. You can reach the left arm up. You can take the left hand to the back of the pelvis or even back around behind you, whatever feels comfortable. And if the floor feels really far away and this feels intense, place a blanket or a few towels underneath the right shoulder. On your next exhale, release the left hand to your floor once again. Inhale, stretch the right arm up. Exhale, release it back down. Take a round of cat-cow. Inhale, gently take a back bend, draw the shoulder blades together, look up. Exhale, tuck and round. Inhale, come back to a neutral spine. Inhale, left arm up. Exhale, weave the left hand behind the right wrist this time, pausing here to notice the differences on right and left sides. Staying with the right hand on the ground, maybe coming to right fingertips, maybe even stretching the right arm up. Again, one side will be different, and that's okay. Just find a place where you can be even with your breathing. Tap into it here. On your next exhale, return your right hand to the mat. Inhale, take the left arm back up. Exhale, left hand to the floor, and either pause back in child's pose for just a moment. We'll all meet there. And then inhale, walk your hands back toward your knees. Tuck the toes under and come to a forward fold. So you can bend the knees generously. You'll be toward the back of your mat, and that's okay. You can bend the knees generously. Maybe rock a little side to side. Just starting to stretch out the whole back line of the body. Maybe shake your head yes, or shake your head no. Maybe even roll the shoulders around a few times here. and then come to a place where you feel your feet evenly pressing into the floor. And then press the floor away as you start to roll up one vertebrae at a time, keeping your head and neck heavy, being the last thing to come up as you make your way to stand. Come all the way up. Pause in Tadasana, this nice standing neutral position. And then step toward the front of your mat as you come upright. So we're going to move a little bit here. I'm going to move my mat back just a touch. And we're going to go ahead and move into some dynamic poses for balance. So from here, we're going to inhale, reach your arms up to Urdhva Hastasana, reaching upward with the hands as the feet press down. And then exhale, just return your hands by your side. So we're going to do that 2 more times. Inhale, reach the arms up, anchor down through the feet, or maybe challenge your balance and come on to the ball mounts of each foot. Exhale, lower back down. 1 more time. Inhale, reach the arms up, feet plant down, or come to the ball mount of your feet. Exhale, lower hands and feet if they're not there already. So 1 more time. This time, just reach the arms up. As you exhale, hinge at the hips and fold forward, back into that standing forward fold, only this time you're at the top of your mat. Inhale, take your hands to your shins, lengthen your spine, look halfway up. And then as you exhale, fold and step the right foot back and drop the right knee to the ground. Inhale, take your hands to your left thigh and come up. So if this is too intense on your right knee, just fold over your mat or grab a towel. But ideally, you have a 90-degree angle on the back knee and the front knee. Left hand comes to left thigh. Inhale, reach the right arm up. Exhale, stretch and lean directly up and over to the left side. So you're elongating the whole right line of the body, but notice that the left side wants to collapse. Can it get longer as well? And then move the back of your head in space lightly, keeping the throat open so you can breathe more deeply here. Find a point to gaze at. And notice, can you sense what's in your periphery even as you're gazing at that one point? Inhale next. Come back up with the right arm. Exhale, replace your right hand and your left around your front foot, and then step forward and fold 1 more time. Bend your knees generously. Take your inhale. Start to roll up 1 vertebrae at a time. Reach the arms all the way up as you get here. Exhale, hands by your sides. We're going to take 3 more Urdhva Hastasanas. Maybe challenge your balance. Inhale, reach the arms up. Maybe come to the ball mount of your feet. As you reach all the way up, and exhale, lower back down slowly and simultaneously. 2 more just like that. Inhaling, reaching up. Find your balance. Exhale, heels down, arms down. 1 more. Inhale, reaching the arms up. Exhale, release, hands, heels. Slowly keep the feet planted, but just reach the arms up on your next inhale. And then exhale, hinge at the hips and fold forward. Take your inhale, look halfway up and lengthen. As you exhale, fold, step your left foot back this time, drop your left knee to the ground, and then use your mat for extra support if you need it underneath your left knee. And then come up, hands on your right thigh to start out and find your balance, and make sure the hips stack over the back knee. Right hand stays on the right thigh. Inhale, reach the left arm up, and then exhale, stretch up and over to the right. So find all around the neck equally long. Noticing where you feel sensations in this lateral stretch. It could be just directly in the lats, the side of the body, the outer hips on the left side. You might notice your balance is challenged, and find a point to gaze at in front of you to help give you support. And then breathe more deeply here, in and out through the nose. On your next breath in, inhale, come back up with your left arm. Exhale, take your left hand back to the floor as well as your right. Lift the back knee and step forward with the left foot and fold. Bend your knees generously. Inhale, roll up one vertebrae at a time. Come all the way up to stand, reach the arms up. Exhale, hands to the heart. So now we're going to take chair pose, building strength and stability around the hips. So feet hip distance apart or big toes touching, heels lightly apart. Sink your hips down and keep your hands on your hips for a moment, and then see if you can rock your pelvis forward and then tuck the tailbone under, really just generating a little bit of mobility around the pelvis. And then see if you can find the happy medium. So you're not sticking your rear end out and the tailbone's not tucked so far under it strains the pelvis, but find a nice neutral position so the low back is long. Stay with your hands on your hips. Bring the hands to the heart. Look down and make sure the knees are pointing forward, and then maybe reach the arms up. Notice the weight on the ball mount of the feet getting lighter and the heels getting heavier as the sides of the bodies get long, and you can breathe deeply here. Maybe sink a little lower. Maybe smile as you tap into your strength in the body, helping prevent injury. Take one more cycle of breath here. As you exhale, press to stand, reach the arms by your side. Turn to face the long edge of your mat and take your feet wide. So we'll come into Warrior Two, adding on to that strength. So turn your right toes out so it faces the short edge of your mat, and bend your right knee. So the outer edge of the back foot is parallel to the back edge of your mat. And then instead of turning the pelvis forward, keep it facing the long edge of your mat. So you have a nice wide stance. Lift the inner arch of the back foot. Maybe extend your arms out parallel to the floor. Relax the shoulders down away from the ears. And press down through the ball mount of your right big toe. So the knee tracks on that right knee over the second toe on your right foot. Warrior Two, really giving you a base of support in the hips and openness in the inner thigh, strength in the outer hip, which gives you stability for a solid golf swing. Take 2 more cycles of breath here. Maybe sinking a little deeper. As you inhale, straighten the front leg, reach the arms up. Turn the right toes back in to face the long edge of your mat and switch sides. So left toes now point toward the back edge of your mat, or if it's the front, that's fine, whichever way you turned. But imagine here, this front thigh is externally rotating, the outer edge of the back foot parallel to the back edge of your mat. Lift the inner arch of that right foot, press down through the left big toe mount, and reach your arms out. Turn your torso to face the long edge of your mat, and if your knee comes with you, look back. Press your left knee, in line with the left toe. Stretch out through the fingertips, engage the whole body here. Elongate the spine up, and breathe deeply. Take one more cycle of breath. Can you soften the shoulders, soften the eyes? As you inhale, straighten the front leg, reach the arms up, so toes point in slightly. Take your next breath to inhale, lengthen the spine, and as you exhale, take a nice wide-legged forward fold, just to create a little bit of balance, to strengthen the front side of the legs. Now, elongate the hamstrings, add a little more space in the low back. You can have blocks underneath your hands if the floor feels far away, or widen your stance. Also getting a mild inversion here to help clear out the head. Reverse the blood flow. And just shift your perspective. Oftentimes golfers get injuries in the back, in the low back especially, and this can be in part due to this whole fascial chain, this connective tissue. And so if there's tension in the tight hamstrings, it can affect the low back. So we're just trying to offset some of that patterning that might not be serving you. On your next inhale, look halfway up, take your hands to your hips, and come all the way to stand, and then walk or jump your feet together. You can come to face the front of your mat again, or stay facing the side, whatever's comfortable for you. But take the feet underneath the hips, sink your hips down, cross your right knee over the left. So now we're in eagle legs, and hug in toward the midline, which is opposite of what we just did in our wide-legged position. And then you can always hover the right foot if you want more balance, or tuck it behind the left. Reach your arms out to the side. Take a breath in. Exhale, left elbow over right. Maybe give yourself a hug. Maybe move the forearms toward one another, and maybe stay. Maybe the side view as well. We got a couple rounds of breath here. Keep dropping the shoulder blades down away from the ears, lifting the elbows up, tucking the tailbone slightly, and softening your gaze so you can see what's out to the sides of you as best you can. Unwind your arms, unwind your legs. Inhale, press to stand, and pause in Tadasana. Feet hip distance, spine long, hands by your side. Notice your breath and notice your heartbeat. All right, second side, ego pose. Feet hip distance apart. Sink the hips down, and then cross left knee over the right. So they're hugging in toward the midline. So hug your inner thighs together. Left toes can stay on the floor, or you can hover them or tuck them, whatever feels best to you. Take your arms out to the side, and this time right elbow over left. So you can stay here, but move the elbows away from the body, away from the floor, and take the shoulder blades down the back. You can always move the backs of the forearms toward one another, or reach for opposite palms. But wherever you are, can you breathe deeply, vibrantly, squeezing the legs together to give you support. This also helps you find your stance in golf. Finish your next exhale out. Maybe sink a little lower. Inhale to unwind, arms and legs, and pause. All right, so from here, we're going to just take a seat. We're going to come right back to that same position we started with in constructive rest. Knees bent, soles of the feet on the floor. Notice what's different after moving the body around some. We'll take one round of bridge pose here just to help open up the heart, elongate the front of the thighs. So take your hands by the side of your body, feet hip distance apart, inner thighs parallel. Start to press the floor away, and as you inhale, lift the pelvis away from the floor. So you can just stay right here. Draw the heels back toward your body without moving them, but you'll feel your glutes and your hamstrings turn on. But then see if you can soften your cheeks, both on your face and on your glutes. Maybe roll the backs of the shoulders together, but make sure the throat is still open so you can breathe deeply. And imagine your knees moving away from your hips toward the front edge of your mat. And breathe deeply here. On your next inhale, unwind your shoulders and roll back down one vertebra at a time. Cross your right ankle. As a bonus, we're going to take reclined figure 4. So you can stay here with your left foot on the ground, and you can just help the right knee and right inner thigh move away from you. And that might be where you want to stay today. You can take your left knee in toward your chest and maybe grab behind the left hamstring or for the left shin. But you're taking your right arm between the triangular space of your legs to hold on. Ideally generating a nice stretch in the outer right hip that you strengthened by doing eagle pose and chair pose and warrior 2. So really just offsetting that strength to create balance in the tissue. Take another round of breath. And at the end of your next exhale, slowly release. Switch sides. Right sole of the foot comes to the floor. Flex the left foot. Take the outer ankle just past the outer ankle on the right thigh, and either press the left knee out to the side or draw right knee in toward your chest and reach for inner thigh, hamstring on the right leg, or even right shin. But even though there might be some engagement to help stretch the left outer hip, can you soften somewhere? Fingertips, skin of the forehead, tongue resting at the bottom of the mouth. So not only are you building this muscle memory for strength in a way that prevents injury, but you're having a sense of ease, because that also allows the body to move into this restorative place where the cells can function optimally. You have harmony between the various systems of the body. And as you exhale and release this left side, maybe take both knees into your chest again. Maybe rock a little side to side. Maybe reach for the outer edges of your feet. Take a happy baby pose and rock side to side. But knowing that as you relax into this, you're giving your tissues a sense of resilience to come back to what they do best, helping you function in a really efficient way. So stretch out the body when you're ready. We're going to take a minute or two here just to rest and absorb the changes of your movement. So maybe take a deep breath in, filling up entirely. Exhaling, letting it go. Let the body rest even heavier on your mat. One more, just like that, filling up deeply. Exhale through the nose or the mouth. And then third time's a charm, filling up. Adjust the body as you need to as you exhale, and really just settle in. And then see if you can stay in this stillness for the next minute or two to absorb the sense of equanimity at the most subtle level of your being. One that boosts your immunity, keeps you vibrant and balanced, generates the perfect proteins to keep you functioning in harmony. But you don't have to do anything. You just get to rest here and breathe effortlessly. The body knows exactly what to do, and you're off the hook. You're more than welcome to stay if you have the time and the space. Otherwise, deepen your breath and send the breath down to gentle movements of your fingers and your toes. Maybe even stretch your arms overhead and your legs out long, as though you're waking up all over again. Draw your knees into your chest, and then roll over to one side, keeping your eyes closed as you press your way back to a seat. And just pause momentarily with the eyes closed and the hands at the heart, thanking yourself for this time you've carved out, really preventative in nature, giving you changes on the subtle and gross level that last long after you leave your mat, the body and the mind. So I thank you so much for sharing your practice with me. Enjoy the benefits of this practice and notice how they show up in interesting and creative ways throughout the coming days. So enjoy the rest of your day ahead. Namaste.